He is not going to get rid of hell. So he's telling you, now it is time for you to discipline yourself. Stop stealing. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. He's saying, now, stop stealing. You have the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is there to help you discipline yourself. He's saying, I am not going to get rid of hell. Hell is going to be there. So you stop sinning, because I am not going to continue performing rituals. I'm not going to continue forgiving you. You understand? So that's what he means. If he says, if your if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It's better for you to enter life than to, you understand? It's better than to go to hell. It's better for you to enter life with one hand or no hands at all than to go to hell. He's actually saying, if your foot are causing you to go to clubs, if your foot are causing you to go to places that aren't good for you and causes you to sin, you go to drinking alcohol, you understand? You go to places like that, cut it off, because I am not going to get rid of hell. Hell is going to be here, and what you're doing is sinning against the kingdom of heaven, and you will go to hell. And I'm no longer going to perform rituals. In other words, I'm no longer going to forgive you. Why? Now you know the truth. So you cut it off. You understand? Here he's revealing his strictness. Here he's revealing his coldness. That's how cold he is. That's why you hear in the Gospel of Matthew 7, he says, not anyone who calls me Lord, Lord would enter the kingdom of heaven. And he says, many will say to me on that day, Lord, I prophesied, I healed, I performed miracles. And he will replied, believe me, truly, truly, I tell you, I never knew you. You understand? So people go to church, they disobey him, and they think that when they die, they will go to heaven. It's not like that. That's why he says, cut off your hand. If your hand calls you to sin, cut it off. If your foot calls you to sin, cut it off. Why? Now you know the truth. Therefore, I'm not going to continue performing rituals and forgiving you. You have the Holy Spirit. Discipline yourself. Don't do that thing again, because I am not going to get rid of hell. I don't know, guys, if you are understanding this. You know, this one, guys, is very, very important. You understand? Also, he says, if your eye causes you to sin, to stumble, gouge it out. You understand? Meaning, if your eyes are causing you to love the things of the world, cut them off. Gouge them off. Gouge them off, because now it's time you start applying the fruit of discipline. You have the Holy Spirit. That's why he gave us the Holy Spirit. You have the Holy Spirit. Discipline yourself. Don't love the things of the world. Why? Because I will not continue performing sacrifices. I will not forgive you anymore, because you're no longer a child. With Jesus, age is not important. It's how much you know. Now you know. For instance, I know I shouldn't love the things of the world. So if my eyes causes me to love them because they are beautiful, then I should gouge them off. Because Jesus is not going to forgive me if I continue loving the things of the world. And he's not going to get rid of hell. Hell is going to be there. I will go to hell. So I have to start now taking advantage of the Holy Spirit and discipline myself. That's why I said the message that the pastors are preaching in churches will never bring out Christianity in us, because they are not causing us to discipline ourselves, but they tell us to go to these very things. You understand? So we are unable to discipline ourselves. We are unable to use what the Holy Spirit gave us, because they are preaching what is contrary to his word. You understand, guys? I'm not trying to teach. I have this problem. Teacher in me just pops up, but I'm trying to just talk. You understand? But guys, it's difficult to obey God without understanding how to obey him. We need to obey him. So, guys, I'm not a person who likes to talk about myself. I'm a very private person, you understand? But there are times where I just tend to just give in a bit, But what I'm trying to say is, there were times where I was still going to church, and I was seeing people doing things left, right, and center. And even though I was not doing them as much, I didn't see anything wrong with them because the pastors were saying we're going to be forgiven. And people were still going to church doing these things, pastors preaching this forgiveness and stuff, until the Holy Spirit said, don't do this, don't do this, stop loving the things of the world, don't do this, no sex outside marriage in my kingdom. And I'm like, but the people who go to church are loving the things of the world. People who go to church are having sex outside marriage, and they come and worship you on Sunday. You understand? And the Holy Spirit is like, that message is not coming from me. You have the Holy Spirit, discipline yourself. You stop loving money, discipline yourself. Because I'm not going to forgive you. These people are no longer forgiven. You understand? So that's where this message, all this thing came about. Some people believe that I'm strict. I'm not strict at all. In fact, I'm strict to myself because the person I'm dealing with, the man upstairs, is very strict. He doesn't forgive. He doesn't play games. When he says don't do this, he means it, because he doesn't threaten. He promises. He's very faithful. If he says, don't do this, cut off your eyes because they're causing you to love the things of the world. He's not playing games. If you don't do that, you will go to hell. It's either you start stopping loving the things of the world and obey him, use what is at your disposal, which is the Holy Spirit, and discipline yourself, or you go to hell, because he's not going to get rid of hell for you, and he's not going to allow you to disobey him. I mean, guys, you can't play games with that man. John, in the epistles, he says that he who claims to know God cannot continue in sin, cannot disobey him. You understand? That's why that disciples, they stopped sinning. It's because they knew Jesus. He says he who claims to know Jesus yet continues in sin is a liar. That's what he says. You understand? So Peter, James, John, all these people, they stopped because they realized